Good evening, all, and welcome to a new episode of Midweek Mix-Up Podcast. And today we have an awesome guest and friend of the channel back once more in Colt Eastwood, who's now the proud owner of a brand new podcast, XNC. So the Xbox Newscast Podcast, which is awesome. Yes, you can kind of see the t-shirt there. Awesome stuff. There we go. There we go. Brilliant. Awesome to have you back, brother. I've got Pat coming back in there. There we go. Awesome to have you back on the show. How are you doing today, brother? What you been up to? Two seconds. For some reason, again, the desktop audio has decided to change. So there we go.
You got it? You got it? It's not me. It's not me.
Got it.
Okay,
no,
good.
It's not you.
Yeah. It's almost afternoon here, and just kind of getting the day rolling. Played a little bit of games, doing some work between breaks, or the other way around, right? Yeah, no, it's been good. But thanks for having me on the show. I think my debut on camera was here last time, so it's good to be back. Thank you.
Yes, it was. You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. It's always great to have you on. And again, a massive congratulations on getting the podcast up and running, and some awesome guests so far to grace your show. And I'm excited to see what else you've got planned for that going forward. It's great to see continued growth and positivity. So keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. Next up, first panel member, of course. You know him no better as CG Grannell. How you doing, brother? What you been up to?
I'm very well, thank you. Great to have Colt here. So thanks for coming on. And I've just been working really. Busy day today. Of an evening, I've been playing some Remnant from the Ashes with Colt and Daj and Dealer and many other people who've jumped on it. Really good game, 3-player co-op. Bit of a kind of dungeon crawler. Changes slightly when you play it and stuff. But I think with the DLC available as well, you've got some survival mode, which looks pretty good as well. So so I've been sinking a lot of time into that. So just looking forward to the show.
Awesome stuff. Next up, we have Boxenberger. How are you doing today, brother? You've had a busy day, and you've had a great day in terms of technology. So, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What you been up to?
I'm doing good. All my parts for the brand new PC I'm building have arrived today, so I was able to finally assemble everything together, set it up. I've already installed Windows, but I can't get the NVIDIA driver to work. So it's the usual thing when you set up a PC. But I'm excited. It's a very good machine. Looking forward to doing videos on that, and of course play some games. But I'm excited for the show today. So yeah, let's do this.
Awesome stuff. Next up, Patya. Right off the back of a huge 7.5-hour charity stream on Saturday, where we smashed through that €500 target. So again, congratulations to you, and awesome thank you to the community for turning out and helping us smash through that target as well. How are you doing anyway, brother? And what you been up to since that? I'm guessing getting some sleep.
Yeah, I after the stream, I think I didn't play that much. Been online yesterday a bit, playing some Forza, PUBG as well. But work, like always. So been pretty busy. So, but yeah, like you said, big shout out to everybody who came Saturday. It was a pretty rough ride, but I enjoyed it so much, man. And afterwards, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got a bit emotional because it meant a lot to me. So yeah, I'm really grateful for everybody who stopped by and enjoyed it. So
yeah, no, it's an emotional thing, especially when it's something that of course relates directly to yourself. Of course, you deal with diabetes yourself, have done since you were a little one. So to be able to give back to that and help other people that have been dealing with it, that would be emotional. So it's expected, brother. Don't worry.
But it was awesome. So yeah. And also to you, really thankful. So
you're welcome, brother. I'd do it anytime. Nice. And last but not least, we have Shomberlon. How are you doing today, brother? What you been up to?
I'm good, other than the generic boring work talk. Gaming-wise, I've had quite a varied, shall I say, if I can get my words out, week. I bought the Sinking City.
Okay.
That was in sale.
Yep.
I'm not quite feeling it at the moment. I'm glad I didn't pay full price for it. I thought I'd like it. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood when I was playing it. Because I normally like those types of games. They had what was the other one that came out that was similar to it? It was in Gamepass. Oh, I can't remember. You know, just the whole Cthulhu type games.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
I normally like those type of games, but yeah, I've been doing that, playing a bit of Plague's Tale. I finished Plague's Tale. I went straight back into starting again to get all the collectibles.
All right, sweet.
I forgot how much I hate the beginning of that game. I just don't like to see animals suffer, even if it's computerized animals. I mean, the death of Leon is quite tragic, in my opinion.
What about the chat? That might not have played the game.
Oh, come on. It's been out, what, a year now? And it's within, like, the first 5 minutes of the game. Come on. Leon, your dog, dies in quite a brutal and unwarranted way. I hope in the next Plague's Tale there is no digital animals hurt in any way, shape, or form.
Other than rats.
Other than rats, yeah. I do quite like to go around with the light, where you can make them explode because they've got nowhere to run.
Yeah.
That's my revenge.
Poor dog gets killed, but rats, you can die.
Yes, please.
That's pretty much that's pretty much it. So yeah, I've started going back through that to get all the collectibles and probably try and finish it. We really do need a version of Platinum for Xbox games.
I agree with that. We definitely need to keep pushing on that one so we can get some kind of like completion achievement. Something to say that it's done.
Yeah, and even something that you could display, like a badge or something you could choose. I mean, I don't know if anybody uses True Achievements. On your profile on True Achievements, you can pick badges, whether it be they give you a badge for completing something, or it can be a specific achievement badge that you can attach to your profile. So something like that, so that if you have done, say, I don't know, I've got the guy that I game share with, he's massive into the whole Soulsborne games, and he's probably maxed out pretty much all of them. So to get a badge to say that you've completed Sekiro or Dark Souls, or that you've got the 1,000 and have that on your profile, that'd be quite cool.
I'll send you stickers for every 1,000 you get, Steve.
Oh, that'd be cool. For every 1,000? What, as in like 1,000 gamer score, or
every 1,000 G's that you get on a game, I'll send you a little sticker. You can wear it like
so you weren't going to send me 269 stickers?
No.
So.
Per game, fully completed game.
I think I've got like 70 fully completed games.
You can look like someone in the Scouts or whatever with all your badges.
I can look like the who's that? I don't know. He's quite famous. He's a Scouse Liverpool supporter. You always see him on TV with his hat.
All the badges.
Yeah. That'll be the Xbox.
Have that little hat with Xbox pins in it.
I think Daniel does that, doesn't he?
Yeah, it says he does. Yeah,
the German guy. Yeah, he likes to collect all the Xbox badges, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he's done that for quite a while actually. I think he's known for that.
He's got some quite rare ones, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, indeed. For anybody wondering why Colt's up and down like a jackrabbit, he's trying to sort his audio out. Are you back with us, Colt? Can you hear us? No, not yet.
No, I don't think you can. At the minute.
Awesome stuff. Well, before we start with the topics, of course, we will give just a quick heads up. So next week, if you don't already know, we are celebrating our first birthday for the podcast, our first anniversary. It's been an awesome 12 months so far, and we have an absolute mammoth show lined up where we're essentially going to be reminiscing over the last 12 months, obviously covering some light topics to kind of go through as well. But we also have 12 guests confirmed as rolling guests for next week. Of course, it'll be on Thursday, starting at usual time though, 7 p.m. British, and then we've got 2 p.m. Eastern. But Thursday next week, 12 guests that are going to be rolling in and out, and a full panel. So it's going to be
12 guests.
Crazy. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun. So let's get it. But let's enjoy this show. We're going to start with a bit of a beefy topic. Colt's probably already covered it several times, but it's great. It's great to get that. We'll start with a meaty one, and it is the fact that we do need to cover it. It has to be talked about. The director's cuts. Painful. Yeah, you know it's coming. Director's cuts. Paid enhancements. Forced enhancement charges within expansions. And then those companies that still don't charge for enhancements. It's a varied bag, but we will cover it. First and foremost, I want to get Colt, your opinion on, primarily I think it's Ghost of Tsushima as opposed to Death Stranding. Death Stranding, of course, has had a next-gen enhancement. The director's cut is additional features, of course. We laugh about that, but Ghost of Tsushima specifically, the enhancements are locked behind an expansion, so you can't get the upgrade without getting the expansion first. So it kind of negates it if you haven't got time to play the expansion because you might have only put 5 hours into Ghost of Tsushima so far, and you want to just have those next-gen features to enjoy the main story before deciding whether or not to invest in an expansion. But then not being able to get those features because you have to buy the expansion anyway. It's kind of a forced $30 upgrade as opposed to a $10 upgrade. What do you make of that particular practice for that?
Well, it's not so bad, but yet it's bad. It's really complicated. There's not a simple answer.
Yeah.
Both Death Stranding's director's cut and Ghost of Tsushima have expanded content, like extra content that comes with the price, right? So one of the other problems is if you get the Icky Island expansion for Ghost of Tsushima on PS4, it's $20. If you get it on PS5, it's $30. So no matter which way you look at it, there is extra content, but you're paying an extra $10 because you decided to upgrade to a PS5.
Yeah.
So, like, the haptic feedback thing is not going to do you any good on a PS4, so I can see that. But when you look at all of the other companies, like Metro Exodus, Xbox, a lot of the major publishers other than Activision and 2K and PlayStation, they're charging people extra for getting a new console. It's an archaic business model that used to work when you got the Xbox One and the 360 games didn't work. So they're like, hey, we're going to do the extra work and you don't have any other choice because you're locked out because the hardware isn't compatible. I think this is a terrible thing that the biggest publishers on the planet have decided is okay. It's only $10 though. And I'm going to pay it to play the expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, but why when Xbox gave you Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, Gears 5, Forza Horizon 4, all full next-generation upgrades with faster loading times, all of those things that come with it for free.
Yep. And you still got, I mentioned this before as well, but CD Projekt Red, they're not a lot of people's favourite at the moment, but the moment that went back on the PlayStation Store, it went straight to top selling. It did? It was the highest selling, yeah. Straight to the top selling game for that week as soon as it went back on the store. It is. It's an awesome game. But as we mentioned there as well, Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk are both getting next gen enhancements completely free.
Yeah.
And Witcher is getting the next gen enhancements with additional content on top of it as well from the Netflix series.
I don't know how they can make it look any better than it does right now on the Series X and PS5. It looks, but as far as Witcher, it looks incredible. But for free, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, almost every developer and publisher is doing the upgrades for free.
Yeah.
We're talking like 3 or 4 publishers, PlayStation being one of them, who says, nope, $10 banger tax.
Yep.
It's extra.
Like I said, when EA announced you will have seen, you might not have seen it for Madden, but you might have already seen it for FIFA. But they've already announced that again, you have to buy the standard edition, and then you pay a $10 tax to get the next gen version of it, or you can buy the $100 version and get the next gen version included.
Well, let me. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk like the whole intro of the show, but I was talking to Randall Thor 19 on the phone yesterday about this. We talk every day, and he always breaks down the greatest things. Rand seems to think you could circumvent the $10 upcharge fee by buying the game on PlayStation 4 and then just getting the auto upgrade. Like, I mean, not auto upgrade, but buying the PS4 version on your PS5 and just letting it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm quite with him on that because I don't understand, and when I'm trying to explain it, but like if you want to get the Iki Island expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, instead of paying $30 in the US, you would pay for the PS4 version in the store, and then it'll obviously run at 60 with high frame rate, and you'll have the expansion, but you're not paying the $10 extra for like the haptics and stuff. I don't know. It's so. I don't know. I think it's dumb.
Yeah, it's just like I say, the only thing that bothers me, and obviously we'll get to Chris's point of view in a second, but the only thing that bothers me is the fact that without buying that Iki expansion, there is no way of getting those other features. You have to buy the expansion to get the features, which is just obscene. Oh yeah. Which is just backwards. I'd like why? And granted, we don't want the whole argument about paying for upgrades in the first place is it shouldn't, because I mean, even if they sold 5 million upgrades, that's, well, it is essentially £5 million to to Sony, and is that really what they? 50 million, but are they really going to sell 50 million upgrades? 5 million upgrades to the game. I don't think they're going to get 5 million upgrades to the game in a few months or years, for that matter. I don't think a lot of people are going to really pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And are you telling me Sony can't just absorb like that cost? It's not a large cost to absorb when you're breaking out like hundreds of millions all of the time to run the servers and build the games in the first place, and you've already got like the expansion cost that you get charging for, which is $20, plus the game itself. There's another $40. So you've already got like a big chunk of money coming in from that anyway. So is $10 really going to make a big difference to their wallet? Surely they can absorb that.
I wonder whether this is like a sign of the kind of loss per unit that Sony is making on building PS5s at the moment, and obviously Sony could absorb a next gen upgrade, and you would think. So I kind of, I certainly don't forgive like 2K and EA and stuff, but you can see why they've gone down the route they'll go, because they're people who have microtransactions and all of this stuff. So they've got, they've got form and history of doing that. But for Sony to almost kind of say, well, we're going to show off the power of our next gen console. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. There's a reason why you need to buy a PS5 because of our controller and our other kind of features. But to then turn around and then start charging a tenner for people to kind of have the benefit of that new console and hardware, that's quite hard to take. I haven't got an issue with kind of DLC and stuff being something that developers can sell, because hardware goes into extra content and so on and so forth. But the biggest gripe that I have is kind of PC gamers just constantly get things cheaper. So they'll get the new FIFA will be cheaper, the new Madden will be cheaper, the new NBA will be cheaper. And you get all of these kind of great next-gen features, because obviously they're capable, gaming PCs and hardware, or you've got a range of capability. But because we've decided to kind of console game, we have to like fork out like console tax for it. That's the thing which I'm, I feel for the console community, to kind of, have to take that like burden on board. It just seems wrong for a next-gen upgrade. As I say, I'm not arguing DLC. I think DLC, extra work, so on and so forth, you should be expected to pay for kind of DLC expansion. But you've got kind of two sides of the industry, really, haven't you? You've got a chunk of people like CD Projekt Red who have had kind of like, they've made a lot of money, but they've also had kind of, massive, losses in terms of like refunds and, all of these other things that they've done have still come out and gone, we're going to do some Witcher stuff and you're going to get it for free. And so you've almost got like the Robin Hood set of developers and publishers going, we're going to kind of release this stuff for free, and that should be right for next-gen upgrades. And then you've got, the conglomerates who, will sell you, FIFA Ultimate Team packs and Madden packs and you name it, and just try and rinse as much money as they can out here. And that's the hardest one to swallow for me. We were talking about it before coming on here. If you're kind of a Madden or an NBA or a FIFA fan, and you've got kids or someone on a last-gen console because you've not been able to get a next-gen console because we know stock is tight for people, and you inadvertently just go out and buy, I'll just get this version, $60 or whatever, I'll pay for this, and my kids can play it and so on and so forth, and then they save up some pocket money and then they trade the console in and they manage to get a next-gen console, and then little do they know, because they haven't bought like an Ultimate Edition or a Gold Edition, they've then got to spend another 60 quid or $60 on a next-gen version. That's the thing which is like really difficult to swallow. And I think EA are almost trying to like put that behind, I can't remember what the technology is called, but there's almost like this special mocap animation in the next-gen version, and they're kind of like, we'll give it a fancy name so you feel like you're buying, better animations and this, that, the other, but it's still going to play like a football game or a Madden game or NBA game.
It can't play too dissimilar from the previous one because it's cross-generational, so it's not going to be something that's going to change the way the game plays on either console. It might look better, like fluid, etc., but it can't play any different because then it would have a gross advantage over the previous gen console, and it is a cross-generation game. So FIFA, EA, as soon as I seen what they were trying, I was like, there is absolutely no chance I'm buying FIFA anytime soon. Not a chance. They can wait until it's on sale, and I'm glad it's in Gamepass, etc. in the future, and the fact that we get discounts on EA Play games anyway. So we thankfully on Xbox you kind of get that inadvertent grace where you get a discount for EA games going into the service anyway. So that $10 enhanced cost is already subverted because we get about that much in discounts. But
is that definitely right? You have to buy the game again, or is it a case of the EA will just be charging you for the upgrade, whereas if you were to get the more expensive, you get the free upgrade? Because I was always read it, and I was under the impression that you just pay for the upgrade, whether it be $10 or whatever. Yeah, you don't have to buy the upgraded version of the game. You just pay the £10 extra.
Pay the £10, yeah.
I'll think back now while we're on.
I don't want to stretch that topic too long. I think the thing with this whole paying for the upgrade is that actually, when you consider all the previous console generations, it's cheaper to upgrade games than ever before. In previous generations, you always had to buy the entire game all over again. So what Sony is basically doing is nothing new. We've had it on consoles like forever. Yeah, when you upgrade a console, you have to buy the game all over again if it's available, or if it's a cross-gen release. The thing here really is that Microsoft is doing so much right at the moment with that cross-generation approach, with smart delivery, with those free updates, with the value of the entire ecosystem. They are doing basically everything right. It's really hard to find something where you can criticize Microsoft right now, and that's the problem from Sony right now. They are doing business as usual. They are not doing anything worse than they have done before. It's business as usual. But since their biggest competitor has moved on and really changed the way how the industry works and how we consider value in gaming, it kind of shines a bad light on Sony here.
Yeah.
I think the difference, though, is that in previous generations, we didn't have constantly being online. We didn't have the internet in terms of being able to update. Everything was done on a cartridge or a disc. And I'm sure if it'd been possible to just do an update, then fine. But yeah, Pat, I am crackling. It's a hobnob packet. Meeting and hobnob. I was just trying to sneakily get a biscuit, get an hobnob out of the packet, and I saw my little thing start registering sound.
I said in the background, who's working on a pack of Oreos?
Got the hobnob. But yeah, I think you are right. Previously, I remember one of my favorite games going from OG Xbox to 360 was the game Gun. I loved that game. And yeah, you did. If you bought the Xbox version, you then had to buy the 360 version if you wanted to play it, although the update really wasn't that much. The visuals were pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, I don't think there is an excuse when they can just patch it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
Yeah, so just sorry, I was just going to say just on. So this is all about FIFA. So. Yeah. The new system means anyone who buys the £59.99 standard edition of FIFA 22, either physically or digitally, for last-gen consoles has to then buy the £69.99 PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S version at full price if they want to get hold of the coveted next-gen. If they get hold of the next-gen console, that would amount to an astonishing £130 that they've paid on FIFA.
Jeez.
Hey, can I throw a smoke? Can I throw a little smoke bomb into this $70 price thing?
Go on.
So I made a tweet the other day about how Starfield's going to be like a 100-hour big open RPG, and it'll be $60 out the gate. And a bunch of people argued with me and goes, Cole, what makes you think Starfield's going to be $60? And I said, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 60. And they're like, you don't know what Bethesda's going to do. They publish their own games. They can choose the price. So I went and looked, and Deathloop, which is a Bethesda game exclusive to Xbox, is launching on the PS5 for $60. I'll keep saying this in North American money, or in U.S. money.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
It still converts. It still converts the same anyway. Yeah, it still converts the same.
So here's the funny thing about it. Everyone's like, well, PlayStation chooses their first-party publishing for $70, but Housemarque was not a first-party studio yet at the time, but they were published by PlayStation. So PlayStation set their price at $70, which a lot of people were like, is that a 70? Is that worth it? And a lot of people think it is. But Bethesda is publishing, but PlayStation paid for the rights. So PlayStation couldn't get them, obviously, to charge $70 for Deathloop. So I don't know. I think the Bethesda games and Xbox games will continue to be $60. I don't think they're going to change that a year after the generation starts. They didn't change at the beginning. I also don't think the PlayStation is going to back off of the $70 price. That we got the $10 extra tax for greatness. The greatness tax is set. That's how it goes. Because, I bought the fantastic Sackboy Adventure game. That game is really great. And it would have been a $40 game, but since I bought it on a PS5, it was $50. So that's how it goes.
I don't get the whole argument, though, with that Bethesda. They act as if Bethesda are a completely separate entity. It's like they're not. They are still under Microsoft. If Microsoft to say no, you're not doing that under anything, they don't do it. They're just them being their own publisher just makes it easier for Microsoft in terms of managing. And what's his face? Who oversees Microsoft games?
Matt Booty.
Matt Booty. Yeah. Just so it makes his life easier to have, and you could argue that they're top of their class in terms of publishing. So why not let them carry on?
Exactly.
Yeah, the point was not to bring those studios in and then make Matt Booty manage all 23. The point was, you guys, Bethesda, you already have your marketing team, you already have your communications, you already have your publishing team, and on all that. Just continue to work and do your thing, because they already know that Bethesda is great and ZeniMax they do what they do. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing. Bring people in and let them do their thing.
I think E3 showed that they're very good at what they're doing, because I think they probably took the charge.
Yeah.
That kind of folds into the whole thing where Matt Booty said that we don't mandate these studios have to be a games as a service title. So that kind of connects that dot to the next thing that you might be talking about this week. So
Yes.
yeah,
Indeed.
they don't say, hey, you're with Xbox now, we want everything to have online co-op and microtransactions and yeah. So
Everyone
there
talk
are
like a
single player
pirate.
games. Yep.
Hey, Chris and Dodge.
Good old Dodge. Good old Dodge. Do you know me and Dodge can't have a conversation without, like, if I say something to Dodge, he replies to me with "arr." That's what it's become now.
Yeah, I was
just
talking to these
replies
two on
me.
Xbox Live. We weren't even playing Sea of Thieves the other day, and we were still doing it. Arr, lads!
I expect no less at
Yeah.
this point. I expect no
Here he
less.
is in the chat. Good old Doge Knight.
Yeah, awesome stuff. No, but Chris had a point earlier on as well, of course, on PC. Any of these upgrades and any of these features, etc. I mean, you probably get them less than you would on console in the first place. You're getting all of the features, including fast load times. You're getting the higher resolutions. You're getting high frames per second. You're getting all of these enhanced textures, or the highest resolution textures you can possibly get on PC, depending on your capabilities. But you're also now, with the inclusion of haptic feedback and the PS5 controller support on PC, you get those features included anyway, so you're not getting charged for that on PC. So you're not getting a next-gen tax that PlayStation are just charging. And so it's a bit strange when you can go to PC, play a PlayStation 5 game, and have all of the features less than you would if you had it on PlayStation 5. It's a bit of a weird conundrum they've got themselves into here.
Why PC is the master race, isn't it?
That's why Archie invested in a brand new PC.
Hey, I just got my 3080 to work, so yeah.
Woo!
Hey, look at that.
We're gonna see it. The narrative change over the next couple of days. Archie's gonna be like, PC, it's all master race from here.
All his videos change.
yeah. Why PC wins and Xbox sucks.
So,
My
we got
name is
a new narrative.
Archimedes, and I am the German PC enthusiast.
Oh God, hi. But yeah, you're right, Colt. That does fit in nicely into actually an article that I did share with our group as well earlier, and a few people might have seen it put around. I think Clobreel shared it for the rest of the world, but it was by the Guardian newspaper, and that was an interview with both Phil Spencer and Matt Booty on the future of Xbox Game Studios and what kind of they envisage. And how they envisage kind of everything going forward. Now, it was a really positive article. It actually kind of cemented what they have planned and their envisionment for not just the US and Europe and Japan, but everywhere else in the world, that to kind of expand on not only studios but support for these nations, and also, as you mentioned, how they want these particular developers to create for themselves. There was a nice kind of comment in that particular article as well that was essentially saying, listen, we don't want to hold any of these back. These developers do what they want to do. I think you mentioned Tim Schafer with Psychonauts. He was saying, obviously there might be a Psychonauts 3, but he might want to go and do something else. But I'm never going to tell him to go and make a Psychonauts 3. Like if he's got other things in mind, then he can do that. And based on his kind of history, we obviously confident he'll put out a great product regardless. So, what did you make of that article? Obviously, I don't know whether or not you've seen the original, the Guardian kind of newspaper online article, or whether or not you've seen the Clobreel breakdown of it all. But what did you make of the comments that were kind of came out in that?
I've only kind of skimmed through it because I want to sit down and read it to see if I'm going to make a video this week. But like I said before, the part about mandate, where they don't mandate games as a service, somebody reached out to me on Twitter and said, oh BS that they don't mandate. How come Turn 10 only makes Forza, and why does 343 only make Halo games, and why does Coalition only make Gears? I'm like, that's not even what the article's about. Like,
Yeah,
they don't mandate certain. They absolutely don't even mandate certain games. They've been very clear about how they're letting these teams do what they want to do. But 343, 343 is a Halo studio. That's all that they're supposed to do. The name is 343 Guilty Spark. It's a Halo studio, and Turn 10 is one of the top racing studios in the world.
Yep.
They're going to make Forza Motorsport, and they're going to be taking 4 years to make the next one. So I don't want Turn 10 to make a strategy RPG, but Playground could try it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, that's the thing that Xbox and Matt Booty and Phil Spencer have been trying to convey for a long time. And when people think that Microsoft forces certain things, a lot of these prominent games that people are talking about are third-party deals that Microsoft doesn't own the studios. They didn't, like Rise, Son of Rome, Recore, Quantum Break. These games, Crackdown is their IP, but it's another game they commissioned. Now they've got these studios where they've said, like Ninja Theory, do your thing. Ninja Theory wanted to make a Hellblade sequel. Microsoft doesn't tell them what to make. So I think it's really good, and I think people are just used to Xbox not making that many games. So once they step up and start making all these games, people are looking for excuses why they think it's a bad thing. It's kind of obnoxious, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the exact thing that he had here was we don't have any directional mandate that says every game has to be an ongoing, sustained game, i.e. live service. It takes a realist platforming game, Psychonauts. There might be a Psychonauts 3, but I'm not going to tell Tim Schafer to go and make it. Knowing the history of games he makes, I don't think he's ever going to make a game that has seasons or goes on for 5 years. Sea of the Thieves has longevity, and we're going to have Halo multiplayer at the start based around seasons, but Compulsion Games, our studio in Montreal, weren't told to go and build something that's going to have seasons or 6 pieces of DLC or something. Tell me why was an important story for us to get out there, but there is no mandate to say that they have to go and figure out seasons for that game. It's essentially the way, basically every studio can create things the way they want to create it. If they want it as a live service game, they can. If they want the seasons to it, they can. If they want DLC to it, they can. They can create whatever they want. Archimedes, have you had a chance to read through that particular article? I don't know whether or not you were thinking of potentially doing a video on it as well. But yeah, have you had a chance to read through it? And what did you make of what was said?
Yeah, I read it. I actually also thought about a video, but I've been so busy this week. I didn't have the chance to do it yet. Yeah, I mean, this part of the interview was nothing new. It's something we have heard before. Yeah, that Microsoft really lets the creators do what they want. That they let them do the creative freedom. I remember that quote from Tim Schafer when he spoke about the acquisition, and he said he talked to Phil and said, "I'm not going to make Forza DLC." Yeah, and that's not why they bought that studio and all the other studios. Yeah, they have now, with those 23 plus studios, really a rooster of studios where they can allow the devs to be creative. They don't have to mandate what they need to do. They have so much content coming. They can give them time. It is okay if a dev needs a year longer for his game, and they can do what they want. And that's how Microsoft is going to get that diverse lineup. If by not mandating it, they will get those great racing games, those shooters, those strategy games, those puzzle adventure games, whatever. It's you don't achieve that by mandating it to certain developers. Yeah, then you get a lot of mediocre games out of those, and they don't want that. They want. And they've been very clear about it. So this part of the interview was really nothing new. There were a couple of other interesting things, especially about the acquisitions
Yes.
in there. But that part, yeah, I think we have heard it before many times. And it's clear that Microsoft wants to go in that direction and give the creative freedom to the developers.
Yeah.
It was one of the prerequisites for Ninja Theory joining them, is that they got their own direction on what they make.
Yeah. And I think Microsoft, that was just, I think they kind of stated to them, well, that's a no-brainer. I mean, they would of course you're going to be able to do that. And I think that's why they kind of jumped at the chance straight away. It was a case of, we're not going to tell you what to make. You can make whatever you make. Of course, we knew at that point they'd already pretty much started work on on the second Hellblade, but they've got another 2 projects kind of in the works that are nowhere near what Hellblade is. And I mean, obviously they're very different in scope and very different in size. One of them's a kind of a realistic horror that kind of plays on all your senses. The other one, I think, is a VR project that they're doing. That sounds more like potentially for PC at that point, unless we know anything in the future with support for Xbox. But that's
that Project Mara.
Yes, yeah. But outside of that, I think the one key thing that I've took from here as well, with regards to just how far and wide they're looking at studios, also is quite great. And I think Matt Booty also cemented the comment on it, stating that obviously they're looking to not only get acquisitions from North America, South America, Europe, etc., as you usually would, but also looking more further afield in South Africa and Asia and India and normal
South America as well, I think.
Yeah.
As well.
He said obviously it wouldn't surprise me if that would happen. He says obviously with the talent that's available and tools that are available, like Unity and Unreal Engine, etc., that are more accessible for those. Within the next 3 to 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get numerous studios in those countries. Also stipulating as well, and that's because I've seen a few comments on this underneath the article, so but in the small print it's outsourcing companies, and he specifically kind of mentioned in that article these won't be outsourcing companies. They'll be full-sized teams that will be making games that they want to make, not games that they've been outsourced to make or games that they've been outsourced to help on. So actual studios in these countries that have never really been dug deep into before, creating brand new titles and experiences that are kind of close to what they want to do. Shom, what do you make of that? I mean, obviously going further afield and looking into kind of new talent from outside your regular markets. Is that something that's actually more of an exciting kind of appeal behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much in terms of like what you could purchase from places like India or Africa. I don't know. In fact, I don't know any studios in Africa. The only one I know of in India is the Ubisoft one that's doing the Prince of Persia remake, and to be honest with you, that's not looking that hot. But again, you don't know what they could do if they were working on their own rather than trying to remake somebody else's stuff. I think I said it on Twitter. I think China it has a big pool of talent there, but I don't know how feasible it would be in terms with the Chinese government and them overstepping into how things are done and whatnot. I don't know what the business climate in that sense would be, but if it's all okay, then I think, I mean, the guys that are making the game based on Monkey, I forget his name. Is it Wu?
Oh, yes, yeah.
We saw the tech demo thing.
Yeah.
You know, they that looks, if that's even half of what we get, that's going to look like an amazing game. Then you've got the Bright Memory Infinite guy. So I mean, there's some talented people within China. I mean, at the end of there's 1.7 billion people, so there's going to be talent there. You're going to find talent in that. So I think China's a good one. Would be, I mean, obviously they've been coveting a Japanese studio or a couple of Japanese studios for a long time. So I think I'd probably take that out of the regular, because Japan is known for creating some quality games. So I wouldn't expect them to have that as the outside thing. But I think having Microsoft backing for a potential studio that we're not even aware of is potentially quite exciting.
Yeah,
it just depends on what the game is, and the quality of the development or developers, should I say?
Yeah, I'd like to say, obviously, a lot of people have pointed out, and I think in chat there as well, Beast Mode says Rockstar also has a support studio in India. To be fair,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think a lot of European companies kind of outsource a lot of these back ends, especially back ends stuff and technical stuff to India and a lot of other Asian countries as well, to kind of mop up a lot of the kind of, should we say, the bug fixing and the other aspects of it. But I think potentially what Matt Booty's looking or alluding to there is there's probably a lot of creative people within these countries that potentially are at studios that might be only used as outsourcing when they've got a lot more potential behind them to create their own product. And if,
I mean, I wasn't meaning to sound like I was trashing
no,
Indian
definitely
thing.
not.
It's just I'm unaware of any studios within these countries.
To be fair, I don't think neither are we. I don't think even Colt's kind of aware of. Are you aware of any Indian developers?
No, I didn't know what he would be talking about. I can't think of what studios those would be, but he said that for a reason. So he has somebody in mind, a team in mind that I don't know. I wonder what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, they're obviously looking to go far and wide for this one, but essentially what they're looking to do, and as we said at the beginning of this particular topic, is it's all about the mandate. He's getting these teams in to be able to create stories that kind of they want to do and they want to bring to life in these large worlds. And another thing they've stated on there as well, another big topic there, is that Phil Spencer mentioned this: we haven't invested in narrative-driven games, or at least started creating narrative-driven games more than we have right now. Quite a lot of our studios are creating these narrative-driven games. Of course, we've got live service games, and we've got multiplayer games, and we've got Halos and things like that. But in terms of narrative-driven games, we've never been creating more than we have now. I said something like a third of their studios, or maybe more, are creating narrative-driven games. I mean, that's a great way to look at things. I mean, what do you expect? And we know there's still a few, especially Compulsion. We have no idea what they're making yet. But I would imagine they're creating some narrative-driven game right now. Well, who do you think are left that is creating something different, Colt?
Well, Compulsion is making a third-person adventure game. They're kind of they're the real wild card. So I don't know what they're making.
Wasn't there's touted to be like a mix of Uncharted and BioShock, wasn't it? Then
oh wow,
someone
that sounds.
Someone at Xbox mentioned that
that's
combination.
What they teased, yeah. And they confirmed on the Iron Lord podcast, they confirmed that it's going to be third person. So.
Okay, yeah, that's where I heard that. So I've gone through the list of studios many times trying to figure out. A third of the studios are working on new IPs, new franchises. Half of the studios are working on third person, or I should say not first person games. You know, we've seen quite a lot of like hands running or shooting or interaction in first person. But truthfully, when I went and looked, it was about half of the studios are working on first person games, and the other half are working on stuff that's either racing game, RTS, third person, top down, isometric. So yeah, there's just a bunch of variety, and I think that's really what it means with when Phil says we're looking at this studio pick up a studio in India, that they must have this idea of we don't mandate what Xbox brings, but we want to make sure that we're bringing in a variety of talent to bring all kinds of different games that a lot of different people like, because Gamepass is going to hunger and demand that Xbox has more content than the competition. And we're going to see that this generation, and I don't think people are ready for it because PlayStation's struck so many deals. They've had so many exclusives while Xbox wasn't making games.
Yeah.
The tide will kind of turn. There's going to be a lot of games. I don't know how they'll all fare compared one to the other. I don't think it'll really matter. Xbox will be a big platform when that all starts hitting, and it starts this year, so...
Yes, it does.
I think one of the good things about having such a variety of studios around the world is that you also kind of tap into their cultural things that we're not used to, like with the Chinese one with the Legend of Monkey, whatever the thing is. I'm sure. Well, I know India has a deep culture. Yeah, something like that. But I know India has a very deep culture, and that they, whatever studio that could tap into. So we're getting all different types of things rather than just your very Western focused games that normally are first person shooters in one form or another.
Yeah. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing, is just seeing what what different stories they can create as well, because there's a lot of different stories to be able to tell. And of course we've seen kind of Western studios try to create these different different stories from different countries or based in different countries, etc. And I think it might be even more authentic coming from a nation themselves, trying to tell a story about something within their nation or some narrative game within their nation, etc., or within their continent. It's certainly exciting to see kind of what the horizons or where the horizons go with these particular games. Pat, you've been a little bit quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's my internet here is struggling, and yeah, man, it's crazy.
What's your thoughts on should we say not only more narrative-driven games for Xbox kind of going forwards? By that, more in the vein of these over-the-shoulder third-person action-adventure games that we've seen on PlayStation, but also looking at kind of more studios from further away than we're used to, i.e. America or Europe, etc. Do you think there's a possibility there to add some different new content, some great experiences, or again, much like most of the people here aren't aware of what is in these countries to be able to add to Microsoft?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, there are so many games. I don't know if they can bring like really new kind of things. Yeah, like I said, it's pretty hard, I guess, for other countries maybe to actually get like more involved in the in Xbox, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure, or like I don't know really what to expect, but it will be pretty cool if they actually bring really something new that you probably don't expect from maybe a country that it's not involved yet in the gaming
space,
in the gaming scene. So yeah,
definitely. What do you make of the quotes from Phil Spencer, speaking specifically about the kind of additional, should we say, investment in these narrative-driven games, and not specifically because they've asked them to, but these studios are now looking at more action adventure-y, narrative-driven games than ever before. So again, like more like your Last of Us is. Is that something that excites you?
Yeah, if you know, like if they bring more those kind of games, I will be pretty interesting, because like the Plague Tale that you have, those kind of games, you know, those games are pretty good. So yeah, if they can bring more of those kind of things, that will be pretty cool. Yeah,
awesome
I will definitely take more look into those kind of games, because Plague Tale at the moment is pretty awesome. I'm gonna play it again. So if you have more of those kind of games, yeah, that will be pretty nice.
Yeah, and I think that also kind of boils down to potentially why Xbox made that deal, and obviously working hand in hand with Asobo on Flight Sim, it helped things as well. But made that deal to get Requiem on Game Pass day one is also to fill in that narrative-driven story game into Game Pass as well. Again, branching out what is available in the service. As they've mentioned, they want to get, and this is the acquisition, the time for acquisitions, Colt. It's the time of acquisitions.
Yes, acquisition season.
When we spoke about the likes of TT Games and is it Avalanche, as well as
NetherRealm.
NetherRealm. That's the one. What do you make of the potential? I know we've seen the document that states they were for sale, then they've come out and said that they're not for sale. But of course, we know what companies are like. When they're all for sale, they will say they're not for sale. What do you make of what's kind of going on that section? Do you firmly believe that's Microsoft are definitely looking at that as a possibility, or?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were, and then that outright like, hey, you know, we're not for sale, which is exactly what I saw with Dying Light 2, and I was very sure that Xbox was either partially funding them or looking to acquire Techland, and they didn't. And so the official account had to come out and say, hey, we're not for sale right now. So I expected Xbox to partner up more than, I mean, they partnered up with Avalanche, but I thought something was going on with WB and NetherRealm, and I was hearing it from people that know better than I. So I was disappointed when I found out this wasn't happening, but it is a time when Xbox is going to keep buying studios or striking deals because they need more games than ever before. So I don't know who's next.
Yeah.
TT would have been good.
It would have been. I was in prime time on Monday, and Special Nick jumped in the chat there and decided to try and just wind us up a bit. We were speaking about Killer Instinct and the fact that Phil Spencer really wants to get a studio on that, but was not quite sure who. Special Nick just sneakily commented in the chat, who's saying they don't already have a studio?
Oh my gosh. Wow, it doesn't stop. It really doesn't stop.
I said, well, don't tease us, Nick. Don't tease us. And he just put eyes. Just the eyes emoji, and that was it.
Well,
really.
And to that defense, we're never going to know until it's announced. And we're not supposed to know, and we won't know. As far as like the community manager of Dying Light 2 saying we're not for sale, got kind of a bit of flack for saying that the community manager is the last one to know within the company if a major merger is happening with a big company like Xbox and Techland. So, and people got mad about that because they go, oh, he works there. He knows. Like, no, he doesn't. I work in communications for my real job, and when stuff is happening, the big stuff behind the scenes, we're the last ones to know in leadership or in the company so that we can communicate to the public. The communications manager, or what do they call it? The community manager is the direct line between corporate and the public when that stuff goes public. So actually it turned out, obviously, that's not happening. So with Nick saying, who says they don't already have a studio, if Microsoft has already said, hey, we're willing to offer you this much, do you want to come over? And the studio's like, we're really interested. We got to work out things, or we have to finish a prior engagement, but I think we're coming over. If Nick's hearing something like that, we won't hear about it for a while. These deals take 6 months to a year sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm all up for another Killer Instinct. I was one of the, especially when that first released on Xbox One, I got it straight out on the Ultimate Edition version of it with all the old classics that were built into it and all of the additional characters and everything. So I'm all up for it, and I still play it from time to time on PC and on Xbox and on X. It works like an absolute beautiful thing on xCloud. On xCloud, it is so seamless. That's one of the games that works the best on that service, actually, and it works really good with touch controls. But yeah, that was interesting to see from Nick just jumping in, and I was like, oh really? Hey, Forza Erwin.
Good evening.
He decides to show up.
Yeah, show is almost done.
You have also working horses, guys. You have also working horses. Yeah. So no, I was a little bit late, guys. Sorry. I had a huge customer from Canada visiting us, and they do it so not so often because of COVID the last period. So it was the first time since 1.5 years that we had a meeting with them. So you need to take some time for them and do your best. So excuse me for that, guys. I'm sorry.
No, you're welcome. Welcome in. We were just talking about the potential, or at least the discussions around NetherRealm potential acquisition, TT Games, and others, as we've mentioned, potentially looking at Avalanche. Of course, they've got a partnership at the moment, but they have kind of mentioned words where they're really happy about working with Microsoft directly and working specifically on one system and the tools that they provide, and etc. So there's always a possibility there. But also a comment by Special Nick in the chat when I was on prime time last night, or on Monday night actually, saying, who says that Killer Instinct doesn't have a studio now? which is very interesting to say the least. If people don't know, of course, Special Nick is not an insider/insider. He never claims to be, but he is. He calls himself a fraud. But
you got a YouTuber called MWMU. I believe he also worked on the KI franchise for a while, and he had a video up, I believe, a couple of weeks ago about the future of Killer Instinct. And it seems to be very difficult to have a good fighting developer, let's say, with the same passion as they had, the previous developers, to make a new KI. So it's not that easy to come up with a new KI, right? As far as what I understood from him. I see Colt a little bit nogging, but I think it's not so easy to come up with a new KI.
And I think that's where kind of the strong sentiment behind needing to get NetherRealm on board is, because they've made. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11 was brilliant, and they know fighting games. They've known fighting games for just as long, if not a little bit longer, than Street Fighter and Capcom. And of course, you're never going to get that. It remains to be seen what the future is for Street Fighter as well, on whether or not it does return back to Xbox to have to again fill that fighting void. But Microsoft are very intent on filling all areas of genres on the Gamepass library. Fighting games and family-friendly games are two large sections that they want filled, and specifically that fighting genre. Of course, we know Sony have got a lot of investment. Of course, they've invested in that esports company a little bit more, specifically around the fighting tournaments. But also, of course, they had the exclusivity with one of the largest fighting franchises, Street Fighter, for the last generation. I don't know whether or not that worked out for Street Fighter at that particular time, but remains to be seen whether or not that comes back to Xbox for this generation. Fingers crossed, because we did miss it, and of course I don't think personally they've done as well since potentially Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, which was probably the last best one that they have. Colt, what do you think outside of NetherRealm? If it isn't going to be NetherRealm, who do you think could potentially fill that fighting void and get Killer Instinct back on track?
Well, Killer Instinct was made by a partnered studio, Iron Galaxy, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, does it need to be? I don't even know. I guess I don't know enough about the studios. Which studios would be able to handle a fighting game the best? Maybe they're just looking for somebody who's the right price, because Iron Galaxy did a great job with Killer Instinct. People love that one. So I don't know if they need something. They need a powerhouse studio. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who could do that.
It's very difficult.
But there aren't any rumblings, and there haven't been, of Killer Instinct making a return, other than Phil answering that question a couple weeks ago and saying that that it's not a dead franchise. So I don't know. I talked to Ricari Austin, who used to talk to people behind the scenes quite a bit, about a year ago, and he said that Killer Instinct was dead in the water. No one was ever talking about it. Like, it was never being brought up. Like, it wasn't even on the table. So I don't know.
It has been on the map again because of that Max Minimum dude guy who had a hashtag #BringBackKI, which exploded completely. Yeah. Because you have a really, I think, fan base that is really passionate about the game, and I think it's a very large group as well. And I also believe more than 10 million people play the game, so I believe it's a strong franchise. But to have then a certain developer to make a new one, let's say, and to the demands of such a high standard, let's say, that will be very difficult for a lot of developers. And I believe in the fighting genre, there aren't so many developers that can pull this off, this kind of trick, besides the NetherRealm and Iron Galaxy. So it will be a tough cookie to crack. Besides, there are a lot of people passionate about it, and even then Phil probably, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the kind of the speech around TT Games, at least, was primarily they've worked on the Lego franchise, of course, and looking to fill that family-friendly void. Of course, when we talk about the acquisitions of NetherRealm, of course you would expect Mortal Kombat, or at least the rights to develop the games for Mortal Kombat, to come with them. Not specifically the movies, because they're still tied to Warner Brothers. But at least the rights to develop the games for Mortal Kombat also coming over to Xbox. But then you've got, and this is where I don't think what potentially would happen, but then if the TT games to fill the family void, I'm not quite sure whether or not the Lego franchise per se would come over with them. What do you think? I mean, I'm going to throw this one to Archimedes on this one. Do you think if TT games came over, would they also bring the Lego franchises over as well, or do you think they would then look to develop something new and different?
That's a very good question. I have no idea who owns the IP of the Lego games. I'm
Warner
not
Brothers,
sure.
I think.
Yeah, but it could be that they licensed that Lego franchise out, similar like Sony did acquire Spider-Man, for instance, and get exclusive rights, something like that. I have no idea. I mean, the Lego games, this kind of the style of game is probably what Phil has teased quite a lot when he talked about getting family-friendly content into Gamepass and into the first-party rooster, and so I think if they are looking into an acquisition of TT games, they have definitely something like that, some kid-friendly IP in mind. And I mean, the Lego games are huge, especially in the family and kid video game scene. Yeah, those are big games. That would be a huge get. I think Phil is absolutely right. It's kind of missing in their diverse portfolio that they already have. It's kind of missing that they have that kid-friendly franchise, and if they can achieve that, to associate the beloved Lego games with Microsoft, that would be a huge get.
Yeah, yes, it would be massive. I mean, if you have a look through the kind of the content that's within Game Pass at the moment, the kid-friendly thing, other than indie titles, because indie titles are really where you only get the family-friendly games at the moment, like Donut County or Rain on. Is it called Rain on Your Parade? The game with the cloud. It's games like that, or New Super Lucky's Tale, or some like them things. They're as close as we're getting to the kid content on there in the indie titles. There's no AAA family orientated games like on the PlayStation side, so you don't have your Ratchet and Clanks, for instance, which is kind
I
of.
heard Colt lost Banjo, right?
Yeah, I hear that too. Big fan here on the show.
Oh my gosh.
You want that banjo back? You want that banjo back?
I mean, Phil said it. More kid-friendly games, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't grow up on Banjo, so I can't help you on that one. So.
If they make a banjo, I think Colt should play a banjo live on air.
I told you guys if Sumo Digital makes Banjo, that they're an amazing British development team. They're really funny. They're super creative. If they take Banjo, then I will give my full blessing because they're amazing. They also made Crackdown 3, so pick your poison.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Crackdown of course got a... Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the single player.
Nice.
Yeah. Really enjoyed the single player. The problem that Crackdown has is because it was languishing so far in development for so long, and it was all these unrealistic expectations about what Cloud was going to do for that game and its multiplayer. And when it came out, it had such high expectations that it was never ever going to live up to that, and inevitably, critically, did not do well at all. And even still, as good as the game is, if anybody actually jumps in and plays the single player, it's really fun. Like I know, Colt, you put a lot of hours into the single player. I think you've mopped up pretty much everything to do in the city.
Yeah. Other than all the orbs, there's like 20 orbs missing. But yeah, I've played it a ton. But yeah, they're good for gameplay.
Yeah, really good for gameplay. And again, like you mentioned, though, it is that family-friendly kind of section there that they do need to fill that void, and it'll be interesting to see who or what they get into to kind of fill that, and kind of what kind of games they bring to life. But again, bringing back Banjo or something along those lines. Again, what there was another one as well, another kind of game back on 360 that was very much like a Banjo-y kind of game. I've forgotten the name of
Conquer?
it.
Conquer.
But Conquer's Bad Fur Day, of course. Of course. But there's so many dormant IPs that they have that they could bring back, and especially family-friendly games. It's just finding potentially the right studio to do those games, or bring back those IPs, or create those experiences.
Rare isn't gonna do it anymore, right?
No, Ray have specifically said they want nothing to do
Exactly.
with Banjo.
Yeah.
Nope, not for us. No. And I don't blame them. They want to create new experiences. So if they want to do that, then
Good for them.
yeah.
They do a good job on the CFT. So
Yep.
Yeah.
What if, before we go on to the next topic, what do you make, Colt? Because we haven't really managed to speak about these things since they came out. But what do you make on the news that the development of Everwild was kind of started over?
Good things. Good. Yeah, that's what I think of it. I kept telling my audience, we don't know what Everwild is.
Yeah.
And we don't know. I don't know if it's my type of game yet. And knowing what Sea of Thieves is, and Sea of Thieves isn't my type of game. So I hope Everwild is more of something that I would like. But it turns out that Everwild had zero combat and was designed that way. And the game director changed, or they changed the game director, and they decided to bring in more combat, and they thought that would have to overhaul the entire game. So they kind of stepped back and reapproached the game. Maybe what you did was you just tamed animals, worked with them, kept your camp safe, and built your world up with the help of wildlife and magic. And maybe that's cool, but it would be nice to go out and attack some alien beetles and some crazy serpents or whatever. Like, maybe that makes the game much better, so I'm glad that they're going back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And Rare's super creative, so if they can do their creative thing and eke in a little bit of what traditional gamers or the large majority of gamers really like, which is so weird to say because some of the most popular games are not like the biggest banger in the world. So yeah, I think it's good. I'm glad. I hope the best for them. They're amazing.
Yeah. We've got Harry in the chat there saying, "Bring back Viva Pinata." Are you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
that was my banjo, let's say.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh dear me. But then again, we're going on to the next topic, which is specifically talking about what is now the starting point of Xbox and the new content, the wave of games that is now going to be essentially, hopefully, never ending. We're just going to get content after content after content, and this month we're welcoming in I think 3 or 4 big titles. First, we've got, I do believe it's is it Flight Sim first that we have coming up, or at least the larger title, Flight Sim.
Yeah.
We've
July
all-
27th.
27th, which is coming to console for the first time ever. Of course, we know a lot of people play that down. Oh, it's already on PC. Yeah, this game, it's always been the top tier of PCs that can actually get any kind of performance or fidelity or anything out of these games in the first place. To see it come to console for the first time ever, specifically on next generation hardware, is an exciting thing, and it's going to get a lot more people into Flight Sim as well for the first time. It is as big of a market as that is on PC. Bringing new people to that franchise is only going to make that franchise bigger and better. We've also then got the Ascent, which follows 2 days later, which again, that's not a AAA IP, but from what I've seen, dear God, that is a really big game that I'm looking forward to. And we've also got Death's Door. That's another one as well that's coming out this month into Xbox Game Pass. So
Yes.
we've got 4. Well, I think it's 3 or 4. I probably missed one out actually there. Chris Tales, there we go. Omno, Chris Tales, The Ascent, and Flight Sim, all this month. And then we go into next month, and then we've got the month after, and it's just a deluge, an absolute feast of games for gamers. What, Cole? I mean, how excited are you just to sit down. It's going to be a surreal experience, no doubt, to sit down and play Flight Sim on a console on a large screen TV for the first time ever. How much are you looking forward to this next month and beyond? For Xbox?
Man, this is like when everything finally comes in. I've played Flight Simulator on my PC. I'm looking over here at this really nice production PC it was like $1,400. And it can't run that game at 60 frames. It's really unstable. So to play it at high fidelity with VRR, my TV, it'll probably run either 30 or 60, as they say, in different times. So that's going to be cool. I live in Washington State, so to fly out of my city to Washington or to Seattle, it takes about 25 minutes. So I took off from Seattle Airport and flew the direction toward where I live, and I actually flew right without, because I don't know how to use the gauges. I flew from Seattle Airport over to my city, which I know it from looking at Google Maps so much for my job. I flew over my city and made my way to my neighborhood and flew over my neighborhood and laughed all the time doing it. Like, how cool is this that I can do this? And Flight Simulator is not like your traditional game. It's a flight simulator. So it's funny to watch people like try and make fun of that. It's already on PC and it's not a real game, and shut up.
yeah, exactly. It is. It's such a surreal experience. And one of the first things I did, because I think I was one of the only ones that was playing at the time when I was on the show, and after the show as well with Erwin and Shom and Pat. And they were like, right, go over my house. Fly over my house. Show me my house.
Go to the Westlawn.
Yeah.
That's what you do for some strange reason. It's like, I'm going to find my own house. I don't know why we want to do that. I can see my own house myself, but let's fly over it.
Everybody says that. Like, the first thing I'm going to do is fly through my house. Go to my house or the place where I live, you know?
Yeah.
But you have also a wish list, right? With locations you want to visit, right, in your life. So the most exotic Caribbean stuff. So that is my wish list to do to fly to such things, and also to, as you know, I like racing a lot. So I'm going to try to fly as much to racing circuits, to hoover around and above, to see how the circuits look like from on top. So there's a couple nice things to do, and of course people say it's on PC. Yeah, I have a laptop that doesn't run Flight Sim, so for me it's the first time that I can play it, and I'm super happy that they bring the game to console, not as Age of Empires, which they don't bring to console. So I think this is a good effort and a good step in the right direction with bringing such a game to console, right? So be happy about it and be positive and just have fun. But yeah, people like to dislike our things.
Imagine that, huh?
I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to with Flight Sim for the first time, and I think a lot of people are going to agree as well, is not just being able to play Flight Sim on console, but for the first time in a while is having an entire group of people that's going to be able to have the capabilities of not only playing Flight Sim, but playing online on Flight Sim. Like, to be able to get that many people who have a computer good enough to run Flight Sim in the first place is a difficult feat. Like, top tier like PC gamers are few and far between. Like, it's not as common as people make out it is. Like,
of course not.
Not many people have big high-end computers that can run something like that at a good enough quality. So to be able to sit down and everybody jump on Flight Sim and fly around and just be silly and have fun and go different places and things, that's just going to be crazy to me. Like, it's going to be the first time in ever that I've played Flight Sim online with friends. I've always ever exclusively played it by myself.
But is there any news about how many people can be on the online, on the multiplayer
It's
server?
essentially infinite because they've got live airspace anyway with live traffic at all times. So with it being cloud-based, I don't think there is a real limit to how many people are going to be in the server at any one point.
Okay.
It's a bit mad. Archimedes, you've got a nice new beastie little machine there you've built up, so you'll be able to probably test out Flight Sim on your PC before it comes to console. Are you going to be trying that, or?
Of course I will be trying that. I was looking through a list of games that I want to check out on the new PC, and Flight Sim is right up there, of course. But it's probably still the case that I will be playing most of my games on the console. I'm just a console gamer. I like the convenience. I like to come home from work, sit back on my couch, turn my controller on and everything works. It's just not the same experience on PC for me. But yeah, definitely I will be checking a couple of games out on the PC, no doubt. I think it's really fascinating to see what they did with Flight Sim on the console. And what we haven't mentioned is that, yeah, we are now at this point where we have a game that cannot run as a cross-gen game. This is just impossible to bring that game to the Xbox One generation. And Microsoft still stays true to their statement that they won't leave the gamers behind. They will bring that to the Xbox One via xCloud. And I think that is really awesome. And it shows the potential of the cloud. I don't want to digress too much, but this is just the first game where we will see that happening. They will bring that xCloud console app later this year, and then even gamers on the base Xbox One that launched in 2013, can play now that flight simulator, which is just so cool to see. Yeah,
it is. The one thing as well that probably hasn't been covered enough is this new patch that's coming out on launch day as well. Of course, the patch that they've got really boosts up performance, and we're talking about not just kind of the top end cards boosting up performance. We're talking kind of mid to low range cards on PC. But they attributed that particular patch, the substantial patch, it's about 100% performance increase on PC for Flight Sim. So a game that would run at 25 frames per second. And that is on a big 3080 and 3090 cards as well, as Digital Foundry kind of mentioned in their article, or Eurogamer, should we say. That card is now running between 55 and 60 frames, as opposed to 25 to 30 frames on Ultra with all of the bells and whistles. So 100% performance increase, and that was on a 2080 Super. So they attributed that as well directly to essentially enhancing it, or at least making it work on the series consoles in the first place. The reason they got that game to work better on PC was their refinement on making it work on console, which is astounding. And the fact that they're rolling that out, not only are the PC players going to be able to play that game in a much better kind of experience than they ever did before, because it comes out on console the same day on the 27th of July. But everyone then is going to get there or thereabouts the same experience across the board on both PC and on the series consoles. That's just phenomenal work. And one thing I've always said, Colt, and you probably agree with me here, but purchase a Sobo. Purchase a Sobo.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely.
That's such
I know. They do
unbelievable studio. Like the work, not only the work they've done on Flight Sim, but that A Plague Tale itself warrants. I mean, the quality, the game, the story, the dynamics. As Erwin mentioned, I think a couple of times now, that ranks up.
The Last of Us, good.
Yeah. Story-wise, up there with The Last of Us.
Really good.
It's just absolutely awesome. But again, it's not just about Flight Sim, because we still have. Is it Psychonauts this month, or is it next month? Is that next month?
Next August.
Yeah. Dear me, is somebody bringing the maid?
Ice cream? Is the ice cream truck? Ding ding.
Oh my gosh.
That was actually my dog's collar on a pole as she's chasing the cat.
I love it.
I'm just a sound effects guy today.
Holy.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got an abundance of games, and of course, next up, straight after that, of course, before that, we've got Death's Door, which is a very interesting looking indie game. But we've also got a huge, highly anticipated game in The Ascent, which, of course, we've been knowing about for quite a while now, but I think pretty much everybody's keen to get on and play that game. Colt, I don't know whether or not you're getting an opportunity, much like a few of the different viewers, to play that game a little bit ahead of time. But are you excited?
No, I haven't for the Ascent.
Ooh.
There's another one or two that I'll get to play early, but the Ascent, no, I haven't heard anything yet. But that's in like 2 weeks that game comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much are you looking forward to playing the Ascent?
My friends and I are really looking forward to it. Like I'm going to be playing that game in co-op with the RDX guys, like
100%.
Soccer and Dealer and everybody. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. It looks cool, and I hope it has some of that, like all that gunplay that I really like that I don't get with Diablo. So that's what I think it's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, now I hope that, and it sounds a bit strange here, but I hope the humor of the community guys that are working on the Twitter account is also translated into the community in game, because I think that kind of stuff, especially in those type of games, if you've got that humor built within it as well, just really adds to it. I think that would be awesome. But I mean, Shom, Pat, Archie, what games are you looking forward to over this next month that are coming straight into Game Pass? The start of a new generation eventually for Xbox.
Well, for me, it's definitely the Ascent. I'm really a fanatic when it comes to Diablo, and this is basically Diablo in a cyberpunk setting.
Yeah.
So this is really what I'm looking forward to. I also can't wait. Of course, I leave out now the two big ones, Halo and Forza. They are probably coming a little bit later this year, but earlier this year we're getting, of course, Age of Empires 4, and I can't wait to play that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's one thing I'm hoping, and I think kind of a few people agree. It might be a little bit difficult to translate over to consoles, but it would definitely be nice to see them attempt to get that ported to console.
Yeah,
definitely.
Especially the fact that not only, I mean, they made, obviously, I've forgotten the studio that worked on the Halo, the
Halo Wars.
But,
which, by the way, everyone should play.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes. Especially on the run-up to Halo Infinite. Especially on the run-up to Halo Infinite.
Yeah, exactly. Creative Assembly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was the developer.
Get them to do the port. Get them to do the port.
Yes. Because they have shown that RTS can work on console, and Halo Wars is amazing. And if you want to, I've seen in my timeline on Twitter a lot of people playing now through the Master Chief Collection again.
Yep.
To prepare themselves for Halo Infinite. If you want to really prepare yourself, you should play Halo Wars 2, and especially the DLC of Halo Wars 2, because that ending is right where Halo Infinite picks up.
Yeah.
Watch YouTube and then the CGI trailers of Halo Wars. That will do the trick as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually listening
the fun in that? Where's the fun in that?
I watched it and it's absolutely amazing. It looked like a goddamn movie. It's looking fantastic, and you see the brutes and everything. And I'm directly right in because I'm not a really Halo Wars kind of guy game, but I checked all the trailers on YouTube, all connected to each other. Man, it's absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Awesome stuff.
I'm actually listening to Shadows of Reach on Audible in the preparation for Infinite.
And is that good?
So far, yeah. So far, it's good.
I did hear somebody else say that actually the other day, that they did listen to that, and they said they really enjoyed it, they really loved it. So does it link very well into Infinite when that does, or is it expected to come out? Or
well, it's set. I think it's set a year after 5, and the weapon hasn't been involved yet.
Right.
I think they may be going after the weapon. I think that's what the story is. I don't entirely know, but it's a very long setup at the moment. I'm like 6 chapters in, maybe 5-6 chapters in, and I still feel that it's the big setup for what is actually happening in the book or the audio book. But yeah, I'm going to probably do as Erwin recommended or mentioned, is watch the Halo Wars 2. Just I played a game, but I suck at those type of games, so
same.
It's probably better to.
It's worth to watch.
I was going to say, like, I love Age of Empires. I've played them. I've played since the very first one onwards. I used to play Castle Blood Online, which was a mod you could use to. I don't know whether or not Colt, you played Castle Blood, the mod.
No.
It kind of essentially it's an online game mode that auto spawns characters every time, and every 50 kills that you get versus an enemy, then it changes the character for a more improved one. So instead of having just like your regular kind of poleman or knight or something like that, it would go up and you'd get an archer, and then after that you'd get like a horse archer, and after that you'd get like the cannon guy, and it would just go on and on until like you've got the most powerful thing and you've just decimated everybody around you. But like, I love the Age of Empires, and I'm still not the best, because obviously if you watch all the pro players and people that take their time to really love that game, they are so good at that game. I'm not one of those people. I love Age of Empires. I'm okay at it. But Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars, like, they weren't, let's say in terms of difficulty wise, they weren't really hard to play. Like, it was very story driven. It was a case of like, get your units from here to here, make sure you defend this and that. Really good to play through, and not so hard as well, Erwin. So definitely try and check it out. It's on Gamepass anyway, so you can see whether or not you like it. But it's certainly very interesting.
I wish I have the time also.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
that's the thing that's killing me. You see how late I was at home tonight. So
yeah. Well, especially at the minute. Obviously, later on in the year, it dies down a little bit for you. So you never know. But
then it's racing time.
Yes, then it's Forza time.
Oh, man! I saw some nice tweets from Colt as well on Twitter today, which was not the truth, Colt.
What?
What truth is this?
I saw the tweets about GT Sport versus Forza Motorsport, and of course, when the first games was released, and the Metacritics purely based on content with GT Sport, because the basics on the game, let's say on a wheel, on a controller, Forza is really good, but on my racing wheel, my Fanatec racing wheel, it's not even a comparison, really. Forza Motorsport 7 is dog shit on the wheel. I have now finally settings since 2017. I don't know how many hours I tuned my settings, and I finally have some settings where I can be fast. I was placed 20th of Europe last week and 50 on the world, so I am getting pretty fast again. But I've been tuning my wheel settings for the last 3 or almost 4 years. It's crazy, but the physics on the wheel it's not good enough. And that's why they're going to change that on the next Forza Motorsport ride. Chris Asaki mentioned that also on the live stream. I cannot tell you on first hand because I don't know.
Liar.
But comparing Forza Motorsport 7 purely based on a controller code, I agree. It's pick up and play and it's easy. Content-wise, Forza Motorsport was better in the beginning, but Forza Motorsport called Motorsport, but actually GT Sport has more motorsport regulations, also like qualifying, blue flags, yellow flags, etc. Penalties in the game. There are so many things, and even the livery editor, it's so much better game than. And I'm a huge Forza fan. Don't get me wrong. I have it in my name. I have my collection, everything. You see the racing wheel or on the back, etc. But GT Sport is just simple-wise, it's a better game, but it released very with sparse content, and that's why they get punished so hard. And actually, it looks very good as well. So Forza Motorsport has a lot of things that they need to do better, and they're doing that because they're taking more time to develop. They have now a new creative director, Chris Asaki, on the team, which really understands the consumer needs, let's say, in that regard. What is needed to make a motorsport that everyone wants. So this will be absolutely amazing. So I agree a little bit, as you can hear.
Do you think then, Erwin, the sheer rise in popularity on Forza Horizon has allowed Forza Motorsport to take a little bit more of a step back to refine the actual sim side of it, knowing that if somebody wants a more casual game, Horizon is there to take the weight off them. Whereas if they want an actual sim game, they can then refine Motorsport into the sim game it was always meant to be. Do you think is that really kind of how they're looking at it now as well?
Yeah, and that also because Forza Motorsport lost his way a little bit because Forza Horizon was doing so well with the casuals. So what you saw was the limos and the SUVs and all other crazy cars, even the Hot Wheels cars coming to Forza Motorsport. And that is not really where Forza Motorsport is based on. Forza Motorsport is like it said in the title, motorsport. So you want really a realistic racer that, of course, is a simcade. It's not a Assetto Corsa Competizione or the iRacing or whatever. It's always will be the simcade, but you can do it on the Gran Turismo way, being realistic but not overly realistic. And there you have to do the crazy stuff you can do in Forza Horizon, which will they do absolutely fantastic. The new Forza Horizon 5 footage you saw on the stream last time with the improved sound, the ray tracing sounds, whatever, that's absolutely really high level, high class. But Forza Motorsport lost his way, and they're really going back to motorsport. Chris Osaki mentioned that also multiple times, and that's also what you see now. They're doing the physics work, a complete revamp of that. You have 8 points of tire model points on the tire, which was one only in Forza Motorsport 7. So they did massive work on the physics sides of things to please also the online racing community that is also on YouTube. You see all the bigger games like Assetto Corsa and whatever, all the YouTubers are still streaming that, Gran Turismo as well. It's even on the Olympics, guys, it was. So yeah, motorsport has a lot of things to improve, and I have full confidence that they will. Full confidence.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think obviously we've seen over the recent days as well. Now I really like the new developer diaries they've kind of started to adopt across the board for obviously Forza are doing their kind of live streams every week now, talking about Forza Horizon and kind of what the new things are that are coming out in the game on the up until the launch of the game, which is really good, and I'm really enjoying that. But we've also seen the Ninja Theory adopt an approach of doing these developer diaries and showing you what's going on with their studio and how they're creating the game going forward. And I'd really like to see more of that as well.
But also, Halo, that's what I like about Microsoft, actually from the last couple years, that it seems like they're really listening to us, what we want. And they really want to improve on the things that we disliked about it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a trend going on with it, Microsoft, which I really love. And Forza Motorsport, for me personally, is a good example, but also Halo Infinite. People were not really happy about how it looked like, and they needed to adjust things. They can be very stubborn and still release the game and get a lot of shit afterwards. But they're trying really to improve and to adapt to the needs of the consumer and the community, right? And that is very important to be successful. And I know as a big company like that, you cannot change the oil tanker so easily like a big ship. But it seems like they're doing that. And I'm super happy that they take extra time for the Horizon and the Motorsport series, because that will make only better games. So it's perfect.
Most definitely. Pat, out of this month, next month, going forward, what are the games that you're looking forward to most, specifically starting this month when you have Chris Tales, the Ascent, Flight Sim, kind of all coming out in such a short period of time? What games are really catching your eye?
Yeah, most definitely Flight Sim, of course. But that's for the most of the people. But the game I'm interested in is the Ascent as well. You know, I really need to expand my game experience because I don't play a lot of those kind of games. But the Ascent looks really interesting, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a look at that. And also, I think in October, Back 4 Blood.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really excited for Back 4 Blood because I do like zombie games. I played a few of them, but this first person zombie game looks really, really good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to get in a game with you guys and just have some fun, just shoot some zombies, and yeah, man, that's it. And also, yeah, of course, Forza Horizon 5. That's one of the games I'm really excited for as well.
Oh yeah. We all wish it was just today and it was just out now, to be honest. But
Oh yeah.
we have to wait.
Oh yeah.
The more I see of that game, and like you say, when they showed off that audio, I think it was it Monday or Sunday when they showed off that the new audio for the game as well. That is some tremendous work on that, especially when you hear the car driving through the canyon and the kind of sound of the exhausters bouncing off the mountainside, etc. That is.
But also the looks.
I also saw on a video on YouTube the way that they record the audio for the car sounds.
Yeah.
It's really cool because you see so many different cars and the way they record the audio is pretty cool to see. They just they run down a car on a flight strip and just go just going with the car full gas and making turns and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty interesting to see how they actually making the sounds of the car and stuff. So yeah.
It's not only on the dyno anymore, right? And there's you really should watch the Forza Monthly back if you haven't already, because there are some really interesting details how they indeed record the audio and improved it on that one. And you can really hear the difference. But aren't you guys every time amazed by how good it looks? Because we see every tiny bits now, every time with gameplay, and every time I'm like, whoa, this is... Because Forza Horizon 4, I played I played I played a lot, but not so much. But most of the time I was in photo mode. And I have the feeling with this one, I will be only taking pictures like for the whole freaking evening, because 42,000 cactus needles, right, on one on one fucking cactus. It's amazing. So every time the looks of the game are so surprisingly well made. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing.
I mean, with those racing games, they always look good. I can't think of a racing game that doesn't look good per se, but and sometimes you wonder when I saw Forza Motorsport 7 for the first time, or Forza Horizon 4, I thought, okay, it can't get any better than that. We are already at almost photorealism, and every time they find a way to make those games really look better, and it stands out, definitely.
Oh, most definitely. Shom, out of the games that are coming out in over this next month, is there any that really stick out to you, or any ones that you're specifically looking forward to?
Outside of what has already been said, I would probably say 12 minutes.
Yes.
Really looking forward to that. I'm actually looking at that Gamepass counter site.
Yeah.
And just this month alone, there's a hell of a lot of games coming into Gamepass. Tomorrow, Bloodroots, Farming Simulator 19. They're both coming out in the medium on the cloud.
Yep.
It's coming out. That'll be interesting to see how that runs, actually. It won't run up well up here. It's going to run up where I live. It'll be garbage. But for anyone who lives in civilization, it might run half decent. But yeah, Flight Simulator, I really can't wait to try not to crash into my house as I fly around Ben Nevis. So I'll have to dodge the mountain and try and dodge my house at the same time. I'm just trying to have a look. Hades as well. I'm not really normally into those games, but as I've seen so many people buzz on about that game, I'd give it a go.
Yeah, I played it on the Switch. It's actually quite good. I don't know if it deserves all the praise, because some people really made it out to be the best indie game ever made. I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely a fun game.
What else is got? The Gunk. The Gunk is due out in September at some point.
Yeah, at some point. It's kind of went a little bit quiet on the Gunk.
Yeah, same with what was that first-person shooter, like aliens inspired one?
Scorn.
Yeah.
Scorn's gone quiet
really
too.
Quiet. Yeah, it's gone really quiet.
Yeah, public service announcement. Almost every game is getting delayed right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Scorn just says 2021. I'm expecting 2021.
Yeah, Xbox says that as well. It's been very quiet, but to pretend like certain platforms aren't going to get delayed because of what we went through over the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Everybody's dealing with it.
And the game from Remedy
is in January, right? Where they
Crossfire X was supposed to be out.
Yeah, exactly.
Crossfire X was due this holiday or this summer, and it's radio silent. They have not even had a chance to say we're delaying the game. I think that's kind of where that's at. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
It's
I think that's a full first-person shooter campaign that's exclusive to Xbox first, as far as I know, and nothing yet. No update. No.
Nothing.
I don't know. No delay
I think
yet.
it's entirely exclusive, they said, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm with you. It's kind of weird that they went so quiet, and they have shown a very good trailer with smaller snippets of gameplay last year, and then nothing.
Yeah.
The thing really
Looking
is,
forward to it.
what I was thinking is the two games that don't have a release date yet are Halo and Crossfire, both first-person shooters. And they have already said that, at least for Halo, they are trying to figure out where do the other shooters land this year. And so I think they wait for Battlefield, Call of Duty, and when we know everything, and then they will place them. But yeah, Crossfire likely to get delayed.
I think Halo's being delayed because of the fleeting. I think they want to nail down the multiplayer and make sure they find out all the bugs or the majority of it before they announce. No, I don't think they'll delay it, but I think they're not saying when they're releasing. I think they've probably got a number of dates, and they'll wait to see how well the fleeting goes and how well the multiplayer stacks up before announcing a date.
Yeah, there's two reasons. That's probably right, and they're waiting to hear when Call of Duty says their game's coming out. They have to navigate that. They don't have to pick and choose, but I think that you have to make the right decision there and release that game in a proper window. And like they don't want to land right on the same Thursday or the same Friday as Call of Duty. That's just not going to help anybody out.
And PlayStation probably have marketing rights for Call of Duty as well, right? So they're going to push that a lot as well. So it's better to skip that a little bit.
I heard that's one of the reasons that the state of play that was meant to happen as their big show was kind of pushed back a little bit, was just to try and fit Call of Duty in as a kind of a showcase piece. So that's apparently why it was pushed to August for a state of play as opposed to in July. So we shall see. But Xbox, I think, like Colt said, they're kind of waiting for that. They don't want to clash with Call of Duty. It's not because obviously they could go hand on hand with them, but Call of Duty is still a juggernaut. Even if you take the hardcore out, that say that the previous Call of Duties have been pretty bad. And then you look at the casuals are going to buy that game regardless. Like that game sells like hotcakes, no matter what.
You don't have to pick and choose if you're going to spend $60 on Call of Duty or $60 on Halo Infinite. You get them both. If you have Game Pass or if you try Game Pass that month, you can get Call of Duty and Halo Infinite for $10. Really, so I don't think they have to worry as much as Battlefield has to worry about where they land compared to Call of Duty. Because Battlefield is not taking... I think it'd be a smart move for Battlefield to just go ahead and partner up with Game Pass this winter, but I don't know if that's happening or haven't heard anything lately.
I think a lot of people just assume that they're just waiting to get as many pre-orders in as physically possible before announcing something like that.
Yeah, I think we've seen it with all the with all the bigger games coming to Game Pass, that those kind of announcements are done relatively close to when they actually launch in Game Pass. MLB was like 2 weeks before it launched, and Outriders was 3 weeks up front. So you want to have that hype up to announce it. But I'm with Colt. It would totally make sense for Battlefield to go into Game Pass, especially since it's a multiplayer-focused game that relies heavily on seasons and microtransactions. And it's launching in between those other big juggernauts this year, Call of Duty and Halo. So yeah, definitely.
And it's Halo, multiplayer only as well, right? So
yeah. I think Microsoft really wants to have a little room for Halo Infinite. They want that game to have like 2-3 weeks where it's the game that everyone talks about. They want that 2 weeks where the Twitch streamers play that game. They want that where we post stuff on Twitter on that. And you don't have that when you launch it in the middle of the season. It's not just Call of Duty, it's all the other big releases as well. So I think they either move out to really far in December so that they are the last game this year, and then Halo is the game that we all play across the vacation time and the holidays, or they launch it really early in like middle or end of September, and then have those weeks before in the middle of October everything else comes out.
Yeah, I mean, go on.
No, they need that time to shine, I fully agree with Archie about this. And the only way to do that is to avoid those juggernauts. So really curious about, but I cannot wait to play Halo Infinite. I'm so curious what they have been cooking, and with the single player, and you will see. And what's also be interesting, all the drama that will be on social media, man.
Yes.
It will be shit show for sure.
Yeah. That release date for Halo is going to be a fun time on Twitter world.
Yeah. Can you imagine all the tweets and all the videos from Crab Gamer? Oh, I gotta love it. Yeah, gotta love it.
Yeah. He's been having a fun time this last week with Tim Dog.
Yeah, with Tim, I love Tim. Tim is really nice in pushing the buttons, and he really did it in a really, really good way. He even make a bigger fool out of himself than he already was. So, love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but anywho, Colt, I want to ask you a question. We kind of know what's coming up for Xbox next year in 2022. We've got some big games. We've got Starfield. We've got Redfall, among many other titles coming out. But they're two really big games to kind of tail off the year. What other kind of third-party agreements? How many third-party agreements do you think Microsoft are going to kind of push into next year? Do you think they're going to go as gung-ho as they went this year and get some really big announcements like MLBs, etc., that are going to kind of surprise people? Or
as far as for Game Pass or for timed exclusives,
mixture of both. Yeah,
I think we're going to see way more. They probably already have deals already set up for next year. This year they were able to get like half a dozen games in for the rest of 2021, and then smaller stuff at the beginning of the year. But yeah, the big stuff comes in next year. And then their first-party major games, their biggest games, come out in 2023. But 2022 is going to be absolutely packed. You've got Redfall, Starfield. I haven't looked at the list; it's so long. But there's a bunch of games that are coming in, and then there's third-party deals that'll come into Game Pass that are going to surprise us. We'll find out 2 or 3 weeks before they launch. Where people will be canceling pre-orders because Game Pass is saving them money. So. It's going to be really, really, really big year, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. And I've got to get back to work now, guys, but I've had a really good time on the show. Thank you so much for having me on.
Most definitely. If you let people know, go on. I was going to say, if you can let people know where they can find your glorious new show, XNC, and who have you got coming up in your next episode? Have you announced it yet, or do you know who?
I
haven't secured next week's yet. It's been crazy. Everything that you want to, if you ever want to see anything that I do, it's all on YouTube at Colt Eastwood or at Colt Eastwood on Twitter. That's pretty much where I do most of my work. And I've got this XNC podcast, Xbox Newscast, that is on Monday nights. And for those of you in the UK or Europe, it's in the middle of the night, so it's on demand on Spotify and Apple and Google Podcasts. I put that show up directly onto those podcast platforms after it's live. So yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm reaching out to some people at Xbox to get them on the show, and that's going to take a little bit of time and a lot of vetting and things like that. So I'm working on that and trying to get people in the community on the show. So yeah, thank you so much.
Definitely. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, obviously, only was it 2 weeks back you had Major Nelson and Jeff Rubes on the show.
Yep, Rubenstein.
Awesome to see. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, they're really cool, and I'd like to get some more people from Xbox on now that E3 is over. They don't have to hold their tongue about. They can freely talk about a lot more things, and so we'll see. I will do my best to get some enjoyable people for the show because it's a good time.
Do you think you'll ever get? Do you think you'll ever get the big man himself on?
When I look at the big channels, it took them 6 to 10 years to get Phil Spencer on their show. So yeah, I think by 2045 I should be able to work something out.
I think it'll be sooner than that, Cole. I think it'll be sooner than that.
Something will happen eventually, but there's a lot of other people that we all want to hear from. I'd like to get. I mean, I could give you the wish list, but wouldn't you guys like to hear Sarah Bond from Game Pass and some of the other there's so many amazing people, and there's social media people that are out talking about Xbox. I'd love to get on the show. as well as the big people, right? So there's a lot of great people in this community. It's amazing. I want to hear from all of them.
I
So.
mean, one of my wish lists for you is to get Tim Schafer on. I think that would be hilarious. I think he would
I
be
love
such
it.
a great...
I got to meet him for like 2 minutes at E3. I have a picture with him. Ainsley Bowden and I have a picture with Tim Schafer. God, that guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to get Melissa Gamepass on?
I almost wanted to ask, but she probably has to keep her true identity a secret. But yeah, it's an amazing community. The people that share, and then people like you guys, the content creators that we all work with, like we're all creating content, and you mix that with Xbox being out front and transparent and talking to the community. It's like this perfect mix of excitement for gaming. And if you're not excited, if you're looking for things to complain about, I wish you the best, man. This is really great. It's really a great hobby to sit down and play a game on, like the magic of a game animating itself onto a TV and those little pixels creating this beautiful presentation that you're in control of. Don't lose sight of that. It's a really, really great thing to do. I love gaming. Quit whining. Please be nice to each other.
Be nice. I was waiting for that.
And
be nice.
Yeah, and follow these guys. Like I talk to these guys on Twitter all the time. They do this show, and it's a great place to be. So I hope everybody's getting through their hardships and enjoying the gaming hobby. And thanks for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure, brother. Absolute pleasure. And again,
Good to have you.
No doubt in the future we'll have you back on again. I know how hard it is now for you. Like I say, you've got your show as well as content, as well as work. There's a lot of things. I know how busy it is for you, brother.
And kids and a couple dogs. It's crazy. I'll clone myself. The problem is if I clone myself, I'll probably end up going to do the dishes, and the clone gets to go out and have fun. So yeah, you got to be careful with that. So all right, thanks guys.
Good.
Show.
All right,
Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you have a good one.
Thanks
Have a
for
good
being
day,
on.
man.
All right, see you.
Cheers, go.
Awesome stuff. And then there were 5. Chris actually dropped out earlier because
Mr. Grannell left. Yeah.
you know why? He took a note out of Forza Erwin's book earlier on, and his computer decided to auto update.
I know that. Yeah, I know what happened. Yeah.
So he's gonna try and jump back in before we go and just at least get his outros done and things like that. But he's definitely going to be trying to jump back in within the next couple of minutes. But yeah, guys, what are you, Archie? I wanted to, before you go off and enjoy your glorious new computer, what are you really looking forward to more going into next year? What are you expecting from Xbox to really build on what they've beginning, at least this month onwards, the start of things to come?
So what do I have? I have so many things that I'm really excited about, because what we have seen now is only the very, very early start of Xbox generation. The big AAA bangers outside of Halo and Forza are coming next year and the years beyond. So there are so many games that I really look forward to. It's of course the big ones like Starfield, Redfall that are coming next year. Then we have those big RPGs that I really want to play, like Avowed, Fable, then the Hellblade, Perfect Dark. There's just so much coming down the line in the next 2-3 years. It's insane. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video about that roadmap from Microsoft in 21, 22, and 23, and probably what is beyond that. And when we look at it, combined, they have already announced 22 AAA first-party titles.
Yeah.
And I'm purely talking first-party titles here. No second-party deals or third-party exclusive deals or anything. 22 announced first-party games. That is insane. We know that there's even more in the works. A lot of studios haven't announced their games yet. Yeah, we still don't know what InXile is working on next. We don't know what the Compulsion studio is working on, and so on. A couple of the Bethesda studios are very are not announced yet. Yeah, we know Wolfenstein 3 is coming. All those are still yet to be announced. So we know that they have around about 30 to 35 games in the making, but 22 are announced. And when I go through that list, I think I'm going to play at least 20 of them. And so it's really not fake if I say I haven't been more excited for the future of Xbox like ever. There is so much content coming. There's so much value coming to me. I don't have to pay for one single of those games. I just get to experience them. This is insane if you think about it. I have more ways to play them like ever before. I've started to really use xCloud a lot over the last weeks. It's just awesome to sit in the doctor's office and pull out your smartphone and play like 10 minutes of the game that you just played on the big screen, and when you come home you instantly resume at the same point where you left off in the doctor's office. And this is just going to get better and better over time. They have so much in the works now. I pull up my library of 350 plus games that I have purchased on the Xbox or in the Xbox ecosystem digitally. I went full digital already in the 360 days. So I have a huge digital library, but it's all there. I can play them all. They have that backward compatibility program. My nostalgia is satisfied more than ever. And combining all of that is just something that makes me really excited for that future. And of course, the first party portfolio has never been brighter.
Yeah, I completely agree. And to your point, actually, as well, there, Archie, is because, and this goes kind of links hand in hand with what Pat was saying as well, is because you're not having to fork out £60 every time, or €70, €80, whatever it is for a title over in the Netherlands and Germany. Because you're not having to fork that out, there's so many games now that you'd play that you probably wouldn't have played ever before. And to what Pat was saying, is he's looking to expand on the types of games he does play. And Gamepass is the perfect way for Pat to really expand his horizons.
No entry risk. Exactly. Yeah, you just try yourself out. What else could you like? If you like Erwin here, a racing guy, yeah. So try Halo Wars out. If you're into if you have never played a strategy game on consoles, just give it a go. The only thing you lose is like 30 minutes to an hour of your time to give a new game a chance, a new genre a chance, an indie game a chance. I've never played more indie games than since I've Game Pass, simply because, especially with those indie games, you sometimes don't know what you get, and then to invest like 20 or 30 bucks or whatever they are, into a game that I'm not sure if you're gonna like it, but I usually don't do that, and this time, I just can play the games.
Yeah, but that's also how I played the Plague Tale, because I believe it was in Game Pass, right? I didn't purchase the game. I believe so. And also Hellblade, the first one released in Game Pass, I believe. So such titles, normally I maybe would buy them, but now I had the opportunity to just try them and don't pay a lot of money. And it's not for everybody so easy to do, just every time pay $70, especially when you are in doubt and you see the reviews, they think but now, like the Ascent, it's not really a game that is something for me in the first instance, but for sure I'm gonna try it out just because it's on the Game Pass, and maybe I will enjoy it. And I think like, oh man, this is a great way to get into genres, like you say, Archie, that you're not really fan of, but you have an opportunity to try so it's perfect.
Yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that I said. Like, you can expand your game experience by actually try to play new games that you normally don't play. So yeah, like you said, the Plague Tale. I was like, okay, it looks interesting, and as soon as I start playing, I was like already hooked from the first moment. And probably also with the Ascent, a lot of people are really hyped about it. I'm a little bit less, but if I look at it, it looks interesting, so why not give it a try? And like Archie says, it takes you 30 to maybe an hour to see if you like it or not. So yeah, You know, like Game Pass gives you the opportunity to expand your gaming experience and that kind of stuff. So it's really the best thing to purchase. It's a Game Pass for sure.
It also benefits PlayStation.
Really does. And people
Because
look at
if
this-
you're not, if
Go
you've
on.
got limited funds, then you just kind of like, well, if it's coming to Game Pass, I'll get it on Game Pass, and that means I've got 70 quid to lay down for a PlayStation game. Whereas if I had the choice, I might go towards Microsoft because that's where I majority play games.
Hmm. Yeah, true.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things as well that I think, it's never not only just for Xbox, but people have got to realize what Xbox are doing with Game Pass as well is really pushing the industry forward. Like with what they are doing, it's forcing others to be better. Of course, PlayStation are still doing their things at the moment, as we spoke about at the beginning of the show with the director's cuts and the charging for upgrades and things like that. But in terms of their first party outputs going forward, it is only going to force them to do better and potentially look at a strategy that's going to counter this Game Pass narrative, because the bigger Game Pass gets, it's going to be more and more hard to ignore for everybody, and not just within kind of just your standard hardcore players in between, but in gaming space in general, your casual consumers, the more that's pushed out there. And for instance, the Game Pass library at some point will exceed 600-700 titles there across three platforms. You've got console, PC, and mobile. Mobile, we'll say xCloud now, because it's no longer just restricted to mobile anymore. It's xCloud covers everything, and it will cover everything. Not only leaving older consoles behind, so parents don't have to feel like they need to rush out and get a new console anymore, because Game Pass allows them to then stream games on older consoles so that their kids don't miss out on these new games, which is absolutely, it's phenomenal. And it's again something people need to realize, like gaming is such a wide and varied thing for a lot of different people, and especially like if you boil it down to who it originally starts at, like around Christmas time and around birthdays and things like that, kids are getting their first consoles for the first time. And parents, as much as kids will go, oh, Mum, I want a PlayStation, Mum, I want this, Mum, I want that, they're going to try their best to get the console, but they're also going to be thinking about how much money they have. And at the end of the day, if Xbox is coming out and saying, right, you can get a brand new Series S and Xbox Game Pass for a year for £350, that is just, it saves you fortunes. And that's hundreds of games that child then has to play on, as opposed to going out and spending 60 on one game and 350, 450 on a console, and then just builds up. It's all about cost and consumer friendly kind of acts, and Game Pass is literally changing the landscape. I think we've pretty much covered that perfectly. It has been an awesome show tonight. We're going to wrap it up here. Before we go, again, for anybody who isn't aware and anybody who's new to the channel, next week we will be going live on Thursday, because that is the exact date we started the podcast. The 22nd of July last year was the first show that we ever did. It was, looking back at it, it was a poor old quality. A lot of nervous people sitting in front of a camera for the first time, trying to talk games. But it's been an absolute awesome year. It's been to the case where everyone's improved their kind of sound setups. Everyone's got better cameras, better computers. I mean, we've as a group, it's just been absolutely awesome. And watching this community grow around us as well has just been phenomenal. And we will go out with an absolute bang next Thursday to celebrate our first birthday. As I mentioned earlier, we have so far 12 special guests lined up to roll in and celebrate with us. So there's going to be a full panel of all members. So myself, Forza Erwin, Boxenberger, Shomberlon, Patcher, and Hertog Vin, as well as we have. Shall I mention a few names, or shall I keep it a surprise? We'll mention a few names.
Tease a little bit.
Let's
Tease.
Let's tease. So, of the confirmed guest list so far for next week, we have Gaz, Game On Daily, We have
The sauce!
Ains. We have the sauce.
The sauce!
He's
God
going
damn
to be
it!
coming in. We have Ains from Season Gaming. We have Italian Clowns, or as you know as Carlo, from 4GQ TV. Mr. Boomstick is going to drop in. We have Joe, as you know as Mr. Badbit from PS Trophy Room. Acer Game on Daily is going to be there.
Nice.
Fork Boy is going to be there. Mav Fun Speculation is going to be there. We have who else? Dodge Knight.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. You're almost at 12 people already.
Dodge Knight. Oh no, and that is not it. There are
We have
a
Pong.
couple more. Pong Soul is to be confirmed.
Ooh.
However,
Oh, is it?
yes. However, there is more coming the week after. We have another unbelievable show really lined up for the week after that, and I can tell you now, because he wasn't available for our birthday bash, but he is available for the week after, and that is RDX's host, Dealer Gaming, coming back to
Ooh, nice.
mix up midweek. So what a show that's going to be. Absolutely awesome. We could potentially have more joining Dealer as well the week after that. So unbelievable. It should be great. We're going to have a good reminisce over the channel over the last few months. Really from where we started, have some light topics of the Xbox kind of community. Just have some great fun. Have a good laugh with everyone that comes in. And it's going to be absolutely awesome. For those who aren't aware, we're still on the road to 1,000. We've had a good little boost again today. We're up to 839 subscribers, I do believe, so far. And when we hit that 1,000 mark, we have a very big giveaway. So the giveaway includes a copy of Scarlet Nexus for Xbox Series X. We have a copy of Ratchet and Clank for PlayStation 5. That's Rift Apart, of course, not the original. And we have a custom controller for any console of your desired platform, whether that's PlayStation, whether it's Nintendo, whether it's Xbox, it doesn't matter. That is being funded by our awesome panel member, Hertog Vin, who's going to pay for that as a gift to the community for hitting that 1,000 mark. And again, that is going to be created by myself. If you haven't seen my work, I do custom controllers. So that is going to be funded by ourselves to give back to yourselves. As a little side note as well today, I have stated before, because obviously it depends on when we hit that 1,000 mark. If it is a case that if you're a PlayStation fan and already have Ratchet & Clank, then I will give you the same value in game for whatever game of choice on PlayStation. Likewise, if you've already got Scarlet Nexus, I will give you the same value of game on Xbox. So either way, you're not going to miss out. You're going to get a brand new game on any platform. But yeah, all we've got to do is subscribe, get to that 1,000 mark, and we're going to have an awesome giveaway to celebrate. But it's going to be absolutely brilliant and awesome. And I want a huge shout out to yourselves, of course, for making us where we are today, what we've achieved so far today, and for creating this awesome community around us over the last 12 months. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we can't wait to kind of continue going forward. There's big plans ahead and even bigger guests. It's going to be a fun ride. But let's get into the outros. First of all, I'm going to give a shout out to CJ Grannell. Unfortunately, his computer is not close to being updated. Still having a few issues. He thinks the update has kind of bought itself, so he won't be returning to do his own outro. So you can find Chris on Twitter, of course, at CJ Grannell, and on Xbox at Hard Times UK, I do believe it is. So follow him there. Other than that, Forza Erwin, it's been a pleasure, brother, to have you back on the show.
Yes.
Let people know where they can find you, and I do believe you're thinking of doing another video for your brand new racing simulator channel, Racing From Home.
Yes. So I will be making a video for my channel. It's called Racing From Home. I believe finally people can find it if they put in the search bar Racing from Home. It should be working. If not, then look up for Forza Erwin and you can see my videos. So please watch my videos, like, subscribe, all the good stuff if you want, and if you enjoy the videos. I'm making a Forza Horizon 5 video. I can already leak on that part, and it has to do something with sounds. So that's going to be super cool. But I need some time, as you can saw tonight or today. I was very busy with work, so probably need to find some time tomorrow on Friday to be busy and be creative and just to relax a little bit. It's important to do stuff when you are busy at work. Also need some time to relax. So I hope everybody does that as well in the chat and have fun. People can find me also on Twitter on Forza Erwin. You can find me there. I tweet all kind of stuff about Xbox gaming, Formula One, racing, whatever. And also, if people would like to play or whatever on Xbox, it's the same gamertag. It's Forza Erwin. And good to be back, guys. Really enjoyed today's show. Seeing you guys, seeing Colt. It was good to be back.
Awesome stuff.
Nice.
Awesome stuff. Next up, Archie's going to have some glorious new 4K 60 content coming to his channel over the next couple of weeks. Thank you again for coming along, brother. It's been awesome to have you back as well after you took a well-deserved break with the family and went on holiday. But pleasure to have you back, brother. If you let people know where they can find you and what you've got coming up.
Yeah, sure. Thanks again for having me. And sorry if I was a little distracted today because I was trying to install a lot of stuff here in parallel on the new computer. And yeah, what I have coming up? I have, like you said, I plan to make the full switch to 4K 60 footage for my channel. And if you want to find that channel, you can do that at Boxenberger here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation, and basically everywhere. And yeah, I do have a couple of interesting ideas for videos because the news has been very light lately. So yeah, definitely stay tuned. I have a couple of good ideas coming.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Next up, of course, we have our resident man stuck in the Highlands. It's Shomberlon. How are you doing today, brother? Thank you for joining us again. If you let people know where they can find you and what you've got coming up.
I don't have anything coming up because I'm lazy and I don't do videos.
A dog bell.
Yeah, I have a dog whose collar like rattle across a bell.
Yeah.
Too busy looking after a dog and 6 cats.
In Switzerland, they have those cows with those big bells around their neck, right?
I don't know. I'm not Swiss.
Oh, you never saw it?
Yeah, I've seen. I'm joking. It's like my dog, yeah. Well, you can find me in the socials under Shomberlon. Same with my Xbox gamer tag. Add me if you fancy playing any games. I won't tell you what I've been playing recently.
Is it that many different types of games?
Yeah, and I've been trying to get into like more co-op type games, but one, I haven't got anyone to play with because nobody's ever on. But B, it's just like, when you load something up and then you're like, I don't fancy playing this.
Yeah.
Then you would play something else, yeah.
No, then you sit staring
Jumping
at the
around the
dashboard
games.
for an hour and then go, you know what, I'm just going to go to the toilet. It's more interesting.
No, I get what you mean. Some days you just like that. You turn something on, you just think, I'm not really wanting to play this, and then you turn it off and then just stare at your library for like half an hour, thinking, what do I actually want to play?
Yeah, while watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, an awesome brother. Last but not least, of course, we have Pat here. Coming off the back of that awesome, extremely long stream that we did on Saturday. What have you got coming up? And where can people find you?
Well, people can find me on Twitter, of course. Same name as it says down below. And also on Twitch. Most of you guys already follow me, subscribe to me. So, really appreciate the support that you guys gave. Also, again, thank you for Saturday. It was a blast. The things I have coming up. Tomorrow, new map is going to drop for PUBG. The new map, guys. New weapons. So yeah, I'm super stoked and super hyped for that one. Definitely. Oh, probably I'm gonna stream tomorrow, so keep an eye on Twitter, guys. And also today I received a new game. It's Little Nightmares 2, and that's also a game I'm gonna stream. So probably that's gonna be for the weekends. But yeah, man, looking forward to it. Played the demo. Pretty awesome game, and can't wait to play it. So.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. And again, a massive thank you. We had over 50 live viewers again today, which for us is really great to see. Thank you everybody that tuned in. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you don't already, you can find, if you don't already know, you can find me on Twitter at WandrinDutch, on Xbox at a slightly abbreviated WandrinDutch, on PlayStation as GoesseN. That's GoesseN. And I do have Switch, but nobody really plays on that multiplayer, so I don't need to share that one out. But yeah, of
Stadia?
course.
Stadia?
Stadia? No, don't have Stadia either. No, don't do that. No.
I want a custom controller for the Stadia.
And of course, if you tune in to Pat's streams, or if you don't tune into Pat's streams, we won't know what they're all about. We do bring kind of some cut down versions of some of the best bits of his streams onto this YouTube channel right here. So if you want to see what it's all about before jumping into his stream and kind of watch his gameplay, etc., there is quite a bit of content already here from some of that PUBG gameplay for you to enjoy, and more will be coming in the future. Other than that, it will be an absolute pleasure, and it's been amazing again to have everybody here. I hope you all have a great night, and we will see you next week for our first birthday stream, and I can't wait for it. Have a good evening, guys, and we'll see you again next time.
See you guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Later.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Auf
See you guys.
Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.